is a huge, unbelievable honor today to be podcasting a CAD/CAM legend, Eddie Corrales, who is the founder of CADSMILES, a same-day smile service for CEREC owners. Eddie Corrales is a smile designer and travels around the world restoring smiles as well as full mouth reconstructions. He also lectures on the subject and is a DSD member. Eddie Corrales has been a dental ceramist for 22 years. His laboratory, Downtown Dental Designs, is in San Diego, California, but Eddie spends most of the time at dental offices assisting chairside with all the digital smile design, from treatment planning to finishing all the ceramics on site. And his website is www.cadsmiles.com. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me. I think you just summed it up. I think that's it.
We're done. So Eddie, when I graduated from school in '87, they were still talking about this man in France who'd invented the CAD/CAM machine, and it was going to be there the next day. But it was that was '87, and they come out with CEREC 1, which I bought, and then there was this CEREC 2, and it got better, and then CEREC 3, and then what would you say when it hit critical mass? Was OmniCam or?
Yeah, well, no, actually, BlueCam had a big effect on CAD/CAM. The RedCam, the RedCam was good too, but not for the kind of work that we're doing nowadays. The BlueCam got really opened a lot of doors, and it got out there. The only problem that people were facing, I guess competitors were digging on it, was the powder, the use of powder. And now we don't use powder thanks to the video. But
and that's the OmniCam.
Yeah, the OmniCam is now with the video. So that's what the big difference is. BlueCam has been out for a while, and I'll tell you, I still work with some BlueCams around the world, and it is a workhorse. It's actually a pretty beautiful camera that if you know how to use it, just like everything else, you can make a mistake with an OmniCam as well as you can do with a polyvinyl impression or an alginate. It's just the user, how are you going to use it? And I became really good at the BlueCam, and it's a very nice camera.
Now,
it's funny that you said 1987, because I graduated from dental school in 1989, dental lab school, and in those days, we were told that there was a machine that was making teeth somewhere in the world, and I was really scared for my life in those days, and I pictured it as a Coca-Cola machine, because we never saw it. So I thought, you put a coin and a tooth will come out. I couldn't imagine what it would look like. And sure enough, 15 years later, it ends up in my hands, and this is how I'm making a living out of it.
And it turns out the reason it was so slow to come out in the 80s and 90s was not the technology. It was the size of the computer chips and the RAM, and the scarcity was the small amount of code that would fit on the chip. So it actually got better and better and better as Intel microprocessors got bigger and bigger and bigger. So yep. It was really waiting on Intel, not waiting on the conception. But man, it's really lots of things are happening. Like you have digital scanning. So some people, like my best friend, the dentist across the street from me, Tom Mattern, he has the CEREC machine, but he scans it. But then he has someone like you. He has a lab person come in once a week and mills them all out. Yet everybody's saying, same day crown, and he wants to scan it, but he wants a laboratory person to come in. Some people bought it to scan it chairside, but they say, well, they said I could scan this and mill it and stain it and glaze it all in about an hour, but in reality, it's taken us 2 hours, 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours. So some of them are just using the scanner and sending it to a lab. So talk about all what you're seeing in the field, because you're out there in dental offices all day long, and I know the dentists you work with. Like you're with Bob Marcus today. Your clientele is elite dentists. What are you seeing in the field in the dental offices with CAD/CAM?
Well, yeah, no, you're right. This is full of options. The OmniCam, CEREC, BlueCam, the new softwares, everything, materials. It has given dentists options, and those options you just mentioned. You can do it same day with your patient chairside, no problem. You can train a dental assistant to do your staining glaze, make them look better. You can do it yourself. You can actually just polish it and deliver it within 45 minutes, depending on the material. But there is other dentists that actually, depending on how they implement CEREC in their everyday schedule, that sometimes, they'd rather just send the patient home with a temporary and have someone like me or a technician or an assistant or even themselves work on it at the end of the day and have the patient come back. It's okay. There's other dentists that have a full-on laboratory in the dental offices, and everything gets sent digitally from their CEREC to the dental lab. The dental lab next door, literally next door, opens the file and does all the work next door. That is seen a lot in Europe. I saw that a lot in Spain and Portugal, and also in South America. That's how most people are working on it. They just get the CEREC, they get the CEREC Connect if they don't get a Dropbox account, and they just communicate that way with the laboratory next to them. So that is full of options, definitely.
So do you think the future is more chairside milling in the dental office, or do you think the laboratory? Because laboratories have gone CAD/CAM, full speed ahead. Where do you think CAD/CAM is growing faster, in dental labs or dental offices?
It's a tricky question because, I got caught on that too. When I first got into the CAD/CAM world in about 2000, I was afraid for my business as well because there was a lot of CEREC's owners and there was not that many in-lab owners, and we could not communicate. CEREC Connect was not here yet. So we were losing a lot of clients, and I almost had to close my business at one point. As a matter of fact, a little story that you should know, 2008, I was suffering so much due to this CAD/CAM world, and doing the transition was kind of hard for some of us, that I decided to do my first same-day smile in 2008, which later on became CADSMILES. But it was really because of necessity. It was because I was not getting all the work that I wanted to get in my laboratory because all my doctors started buying CEREC. And I wasn't getting the traffic in my lab. So I started going door to door to my old clients to see if they would allow me to do same-day smiles. Now, talking about 2016, I think that both of them are going very at the same speed, let's say, with the technology. Digital has taken over the market. I think that a dentist that does not own a scanner will be considered, if it's not considered already, a dinosaur. You need to have that. It's almost always in my lectures, and most people, you probably use it in lectures too. If you don't have an iPhone, how do you live? This is technology that we're talking about, and everybody knows that this technology exists now. And in laboratories, we need to turn around this work right away because we have the big dogs. You have the big labs that have milling centers. They can turn around a crown in 24 hours, little price. So we all have to get into that. So I think the technology, I don't think either of them is going faster than the other. I think technology has taken over dentistry, and we're all going to the same place, which is going really, really fast.
So where was your dental lab school? What was the name of it? Where was it at?
Oh my gosh, that was it used to be called Dental Tech Institute, and DTI, and it was in Tustin, California. It was a whole year training that we had. And the advantage that I had at the time when I joined this school was that I was working in a dental lab, a production dental lab, doing just model work and driving, doing deliveries. So I decided to go to this school, 12-month, and so I would go at night. I would work during the day and go to school at night. And I graduated with the biggest honors there, and I got a job here in San Diego a week before I graduated from this school. And since then, it's been just a great ride. And I don't think there's that many schools anymore.
That's why I asked. I was asking because my question was, is it even still open?
No, it closed. Actually, it's funny because a cousin of mine went through the same program, and my nephew went through the same program, and they closed this. Probably about close to maybe 15 years ago, they closed the school. And I don't know of any other schools now for dental technology. So that's, I haven't heard of any. And that's kind of sad, that we're not out there and that we're not teaching technicians, the ropes. One of the things that is happening that I think a lot of dentists have seen, especially older dentists and older technicians, is that the training that I have, everything was done with wax by hand. So I learned how to wax a full mouth case with cusp, function, everything that you want to call it. I learned that all by hand, and I had to do it like that. Nowadays, everything with the digital world, things are a little different. How you would teach a dental technician how to understand tooth morphology, tooth function, muscles, even the materials. We learn about gypsum and different kinds of stones, and now everything is printed. So I don't know where that's going to be, or what that's going to go, teaching new technicians the way that we used to learn. I think that's an advantage that I have over a lot of people.
But that's the disadvantage over chairside milling. If I'm the doctor, I anesthetize the patient, I prep, and then I leave the room, and the assistant now scans, designs, mills, stains. She hasn't had any education. She has no training. I mean, how does she compete with someone like you who went to school for a year and has been doing it for decades?
There is no competition. It's two different worlds. You're turning around a crown that is done by a CAD/CAM system that is actually pretty good. The CAD/CAM systems now, the softwares are pretty good when it comes to occlusion and contacts and morphology. So it's just a genetic crown. I don't do single crowns. I do full smiles. So you're not going to grab that same person you just mentioned and have her do a thing in a case that looks phenomenal because they don't have the training. That needs to be someone trained to do that. And I tell you,
and that's where you see the use. That's where you see the use. It's like people who are using CEREC a lot. It's for single unit cases. It's not prosthodontists doing arches and bridges.
No. Anybody that wants to do more than a quadrant, let's say 3-4 restorations, probably needs help in the sense of having either someone that knows how to do it like me, or someone that can take over the marginating, the doing the contouring, the polishing, and all that stuff. Because it is time consuming if you start doing more than 3 restorations. I always said CEREC is for single restorations, inlays and onlays. That's it. Today, obviously, dentists have been given the opportunity to do implants, bridges. Now they get zirconia ovens. They get the smile design part of the software. And I think that's a lot of stuff for a dentist to do, and I don't blame them. If they want to try it, I will even teach them how to do it. But I think for the money they are worth hourly, to sit down and work on a case that I'm doing now with Bob here, that I'm just finishing 10 units in 3 hours, a dentist will probably take 6 hours to do this case. I don't know where the money will go. It's not profitable for a dentist to do these complicated cases. I think they should stick to do single units, single implant, not all this variety, the stuff that we're giving to them. But, it's out there now.
So go into detail what you're doing for Bob. Bob Marcus is my friend. He's the guy from the founder of kickyourapps.com, right?
Yes, he is.
And what is what are if you go to CADSMILES.com, tell me specifically, what is Bob doing? He went to your site. He has a big case. What exactly? Tell us the whole thing, how it works.
Perfect. Yeah, actually, I made it work really, really well in the last 2 years. I have the website that you just mentioned, CADSMILES.com, but the newer one is actually called SameDaySmiles.com. It's a little more professional looking website. But they both work the same way. And the way it goes is like this. You have a case, Bob Marcus, let's say, has a patient that is interested in doing a smile design. Bob, what he does, goes to my website in front of the patient, looks on my schedule first. I have a live schedule on my website, and they see for my availability. Once they see the date that I'm available and the patient is available, they go ahead and call me or text me, and I will put them in the schedule personally. I just put them in there. They don't have the freedom to schedule me from the website because it can get really confusing. So I schedule them, and after that, they give me all the impressions I need, either digital or physical impressions, for me to do what is called a diagnostic wax-up. And from there, we can go in different routes. We can go where we do a mock-up on the patient, or we can just scan the diagnostic wax-up, or we can do a combination of just using the software's anatomy, which is biogenetic, and just have the software give us something pretty, which I design, improve it with the design. and we go from there. But that's how it starts. You look at my schedule, and my website. I also have my fees. I have lab slips there that you can print out, and you send all that information to me. Now you know how much it's going to cost. If I have to fly somewhere, the doctor is in charge of traveling expenses. That's also clear in the website. So I make it very, very simple for doctors to find me. Now, you must know that both websites, CADSMILES and SameDaySmiles.com, their websites are made for patients. The doctor actually has to press or click on a tab on the top of the website to go to the doctor segment. I actually going directly to the patients so patients can actually ask for the service. And all my doctors that I work with are under doctors, partner doctors, so then they can choose the doctor they want to work with around their zip code.
Yeah, you work with two legends out here in Phoenix. You live Chris Winterhaller, and then down the street, you work with Kim. Is how do you pronounce that? Kimball Morjon?
Yeah. Kim, I call him Kimball.
Kimball?
Yeah, I work with both of them. Actually, with Winterhaller, we're having a full mouth case going. I'm very lucky. I've been around for a while doing this, and I had the chance to work with some of the main names in dentistry. Still today, I'm running into these great names I'd rather not mention without, the okay with them. But I've been running into some great legends that I admire my whole life, and now here I am working chairside with them. And we're always learning. So, I have my way of doing a smile. I'm a smile designer. As you mentioned, I'm a DSD member. I do all the DSD protocol with photography and treatment planning for my doctors. So, I learn from all these gurus, like Coachman and all the Adelsons or the Holmbrooks. I'm learning from all these guys all the time. So we can always improve our smiles,
So, Eddie, the bottom line is you're 47, I'm 53. You're talking right now to dentists under 30. Podcasters are under 30. And you're talking to a lot of them, and they're sitting there, they're probably within 5 years out of school, and they're looking at all this digital stuff, and then they want to make a big purchase, and they're confused because there's just oral scanners made by several companies. There's milling, there's chairside milling. Walk them through what do you think would be smart for them to go towards a digital smile design future or digital. What would you put on your dad hat and talk to the kids and tell them how do you baby steps walking up the stairway? What would you tell them to do?
Well, if I put my dad hat, I have to tell you the truth. I will always go with CEREC, and it's got nothing to do with the fact that I've been with it for so long. I also helped raise this child called CEREC. And by working with different systems out there, nothing compares to it right now. The answer to that would be yes. These doctors that just came out of school should adopt some type of digital scanner in their office. Now, if they want to do in-house milling or not, it's up to them and where they want to take the business. That's the freedom that they have. But for sure, either CEREC or E4D or iTero or whatever is out there, they need to get involved in digital because that's where everybody is going. And I've been saying this for a while now. And, I've been lecturing now for about 15 years of my life. I've been lecturing. And I've been saying forever this CAD-CAM or a digital scanner like CEREC is a moneymaker for a dentist that just came out of school. A guy that comes out of school and buys a brand new practice is going to buy a chair, is going to buy a nice desk, is going to buy a handpiece, is going to buy all this stuff to make money. Nothing really makes money when you plug it in. All those things are for you to just have a patient sit down. If you buy a CEREC system, automatically you're making money there. It's $120,000 investment. That first patient that comes into your office, you already made a crime. You're making money. So I think that from a financial perspective, it's a great choice to have digital, but also for the service to the patient. To go digital is the way to go. patients, these young doctors that you're talking about are probably going to have very young patients too that are always on an iPhone or a video game anyways. So for them to see that a dentist has something digital, they're scanning in the mouth, it's amazing. They're going to tell all their friends about this technology, and it's happening already. You've seen it. So yeah, I think they need to adopt some kind of technology, and don't go by the price. There's some inexpensive scanners out there, that do not have the support or the experience that other scanners, right? I'm always going to go to CEREC just as a default because I work with it. But 30 years of experience with the CEREC has, so 31, 32 now. It's a lot to say, all the materials that we can work with, the upgrade of the softwares that you get for free as being partners with the technology. It's amazing. You're never alone on this technology. So I think the message to younger dentists, or even dentists that are in school now watching, is start getting into this digital technology because it's not leaving. I said this when it first came out in my life, and I'm saying it right now. This technology is not leaving. And you mentioned in the beginning of the interview that we are so advanced with this technology and everything we're doing with scanners. I still think that we're behind. As advanced as we are, we have not seen anything yet. I think that the technology is going to get even better, faster, like everything else. So I think that these dentists need to adopt it because it's just really a wonderful, wonderful technology they have.
And CEREC, which is going back in the day, that's how old we are. So the big company Siemens, they had a dental division. Then some great mastermind said they were overweighted in medical and needed to switch out. So they spun it off, and that was Sirona. And now Sirona, the largest dental company in Germany, just married the largest dental company in the United States, Dentsply. What was that marriage all about? How will this affect Sirona and CAD/CAM and what you do? Do you see any pluses or?
Yeah, I think obviously they're two smart companies. There's definitely going to be a plus. Now, who's going to get the bigger plus out of it? I don't know. The changes that I've seen since CEREC 30 with the merge, really at this point, the only thing I've seen is the zirconia use, the Sultra Duo by Dentsply. They're pushing a little bit more on that.
Say that slower, buddy. That was the name of a block you just said?
Ultra Duo.
Ultra Dual, DUAL?
No, it's Celtra. It's CELTRA. Celtra. I'm from South America, so I might be pronouncing it wrong, okay?
No, well,
Celtra Duo.
So that was the CAD/CAM block that Dentsply made?
Yes.
And the most popular block, would you say, though, is the Ivoclar block Emacs?
That's the one that we all use, and it's used across the world. It's got great fame. It's got a great record. It's the one that I use daily. But yeah, obviously, Dentsply has something similar that is not complete lithium disilicate. I believe it's more disilicate in the composition. It's a great, very nice, pretty block. I tell you, it's very pretty. But that's pretty much the only thing that I've seen in the merge. So I don't know who's going to gain or who's going to lose out of this merge. I wasn't expecting it because I didn't even knew it was coming until I showed up in Vegas. So I don't know where that is going to go. I can see that zirconia is a big player now for CEREC doctors chairside. I personally don't use zirconia. If I get work through CEREC Connect that is a zirconia crown, I actually design it and send it to other laboratories with bigger machines with better zirconia that is more translucent, so it looks very beautiful. But I don't do it. I just don't. It was my choice a long time ago not to work with metal anymore, and now I chose not to work with zirconia because it's a little tedious to work with. So I'm wondering how many dentists are going to adopt the zirconia ovens and their zirconia workflow in their offices, and see how they can work with it, because it is a little tedious to work with.
Well, let's go back in history in America where when ibuprofen came out, when Motrin came out, they found some obscure study that showed like one in a gazillion people had stomach sensitivity. So they went to the airwaves and just kept saying, it won't upset your stomach, it won't upset your stomach. And everybody switched from a great product, aspirin, to ibuprofen because marketing forced them to believe. So with zirconium, let's talk reality there. So zirconium, it seems like people say, well, I'm going to go to zirconium because it won't break, especially on molars if they brux or grind. Do you think that's like the aspirin Motrin argument? I mean, or do you think it's breaking because they are a big guy with muscles or might grind or brux, or do you think it's because they didn't have enough reduction and thickness? Do you see a lot of Emacs fractures on molars?
You're putting me in a spot. You know that I work for dentists. I'm afraid that I'm going to give you an answer that some of the dentists may not like, but I'm going to give it to you anyways because I have to be straight. The way that I see it is that there's a big percentage of practitioners that may adopt this zirconia revolution, let's say, for lack of knowledge on preparation, design, or cementation techniques or cementation protocols. Yes, zirconia is great for some uses like bruxers and stuff like that when you don't have enough room for preparation. I totally understand. I have seen it around the world, across the board, that some dentists are just putting zirconia anywhere in the mouth at any time because it's easier to work with, it's less expensive, and they can just cement it and just throw it out there, and that is a sad part. So I think that there is a place for the zirconia to be used, but I don't think it should just be all the time because you own it. Doesn't mean that you need to do anteriors with it, full anteriors, thinning glaze, or put it anywhere you want to. So yes, I think that it's like you mentioned, it's a fad that, the marketing is great. Zirconia now is not 1700 megapascals anymore like it used to be when I used to use it in the beginning. Now it went back to 800 megapascals, because it's more translucent, yada, yada, yada. Now, I don't know how many megapascals you need in the mouth, to tell the truth. I'm not a scientist on that, so I don't know how strong a material needs to be in order to be in the mouth. But I think it's going to be overused. Again, your question also was, have I seen Emacs cracked? And yes, I have seen them cracked for different reasons. It could be for a lack of space or very thin. It could be on the wrong mouth because of the function. It could be cemented wrong. It can also be prepped wrong. So there's a lot of reasons. Also, a laboratory could have done something wrong to your zirconia or to your Emacs that cracks later on in the mouth. So we can't point the fingers at anybody. When Emacs first came out, they started bashing on Empress, right? That Empress was weak, and they still to this day, people use Emacs because Empress is weak, even though Empress is a lot more aesthetically pleasing to the human eye, easier to work with as well. Now, I got to tell you, when I first started, I started with Empress, and I still have a lot of my work, if not 90% of the work that I've done in my laboratory with Empress, and they're not coming back cracked because they were prep prone, they were prepped right, and they were cemented right. Many of these materials break because of the practitioner not using them the right way. And it could happen to anything. It could happen with zirconia as well. I hope I didn't offend anybody with that.
No, I want you to offend everyone. This is Dentistry Uncensored. We talk we bowl the ball straight down the alley. When you talk about hearing how someone preps a crown or whatever, it seems to be it's always the dentist. And if anything goes wrong, as a dentist, it's our God-given right to blame it on the lab man or the assistant. I mean, I've never been wrong in my life. I can't even say the word because I've never been wrong. But I want to hear how this thing should be prepped from your end. You're the lab man. Because you hear people saying, well, a shoulder with a bevel. Well, a shoulder with a bevel. I mean, that bevel, you're back to a full bevel. But what do you like to see on a prep for CAD CAM? And let's go with Emacs because what percent of the single unit crowns in CAD CAM are done with Emacs?
Well, it's a huge percentage still. But let me answer this way. That's a great question. It's 2016, and we already talked about the technology, where it's going. You were talking about how we're doing podcasts versus radio. You're talking about how everything's changing, advancing, and it's getting clearer, getting better, getting faster. 2016, now, we should be prepping teeth with no sharp angles, with no bleeding, if possible, control the bleeding a lot better. We should be prepping teeth the way they need to be prepped. In schools, they need to teach how to prep a tooth and a typodont, how to prep teeth that are not to receive gold crowns anymore, which is a little bit sharp and just cast it. Now there are better burrs, better techniques, more videos on preparation design. I remember, again, going back to my first days with Impress, Ivoclub would supply you with a little card that showed you the preparation design you needed in order for an Impress not to fail. Well, then you saw it with Emacs materials, and then other companies started copying it for their materials. So now you see the same card with a different logo on how to prep with a shoulder or a chamfer, round edges, how to control your prep. And that's the way that people should prep, right? So if you ask me, the other question was chamfer versus shoulder, either one, as long as I can see it, it should be a nice straight line on the prep instead of just jaggedy, right? Just go with your burn, just do it. How many dentists out there are not using loops to look at their work, or microscopes? I use loops all the time. Besides, I'm 48, I'm going blind, but I have to use loops to do all my work. And I've been using them forever. And most of the doctors that I work with use loops. So that's where I get all the nice work. So again, preparation design needs to be clean, needs to be rounded. It doesn't matter what you use. Now that we're talking about the CAD/CAM world, everything has burrs to do all this work. The CAD/CAM doesn't like sharp edges. So we like to round everything. Things should be rounded. Even from the pressing days, we were rounding preps. So I think that, and again, the question before was, I kind of threw the dentist under the bus. I'm not blaming the dentist. I work for dentists every single day, and you said in the beginning, I'm in a different office every day. I see from the best technique to the most horrible technique, and I'm not going to say anything, but the most horrible technique, I actually give them my 10 cents. Let's do this better. Let's clean this up a little bit, and I help them out with the preparation design. So that's why I said that. Now, I know that we get thrown under the bus by the dentist when something goes wrong. So, we point fingers, but really can't point fingers. The truth of the matter is that at this point in 2016, preparation design should be very, very simple, very clean. Using laser or cord, either way, should work for anybody. At the end of the day, the prep needs to be clean, needs to be visible, not only by a scanner, but even if you were to pour it up in stone and then scan it or work with it, it needs to be visible. And there's, to me, as a dental technician, being around for so long, there's no reason to have a bad impression, digital or physical. There's no reason. There's no reason.
I'm so old, I have to leave loops on just to go to the bathroom. Otherwise, I can't find it.
What are you looking?
I always thought the fundamentals of quality was magnifications, loops on the eyes. If you can go naked eye to 2.5, 3.5, whatever, that's higher quality. What I always loved the most about getting the CEREC the most was scanning the prep and seeing your prep 40 times larger. I mean, I've never scanned one where I didn't look at it and went and jumped back and did this and that. And so that endodontist, all the great endodontists I've ever met have a microscope. I've never met, and they'll sit there and say, oh yeah, it's perfect, it's done. I did the whole thing, but before I obturate, I always pull down the microscope and say, gosh darn it, 2-3% of the time there's a missed canal. Another 3-4% of the time looking down one of the canal, and I can just see crud all the way down it, So magnification, however you can do it, is just going to be better. Now let's switch to cement. A lot of people say, I'm going to zirconium because you can just cement it. But with Emacs, I got to bond it. I got to glue it on, and I just want to cement it. True, false? What are your thoughts on that?
It's true. I mean, you can also cement Emacs. It's okay to cement the Emacs. Now, the bond strength or the cement strength of the restoration, it's going to be a little bit weaker than if we were to bond it. Again, zirconia is fine if you want to cement the zirconia, But now, if the zirconia is beautiful, just gorgeous, go ahead and use it all over the mouth. If that's what you want to do. We all know the wearing factor of zirconia versus a natural tooth or against natural tooth. We know that. What's going to happen with that? We don't have to get into that.
Well, no, get into
so
it. Get into it. These kids are young. Get into it. What do you think of zirconia against natural tooth versus Emacs versus natural tooth versus the old day FM?
Zirconia is known to be abrasive. Now, there's new zirconias that I don't know that much about, but I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. It's a very abrasive material. It's very, very hard material, so it will wear your natural dentition quite fast, and it's pretty hard. So I don't know if it break an Emacs versus an Emacs or an Impress, or if it break your tooth. I don't know what would happen, but I think that if people want to just cement, still we need to keep an eye on the quality of that cementable restoration, right? We can't just send word to China to get a zirconia crown that looks like a chiclet and just cement it and be proud of it. If you want to cement your work because you don't like fiddling with bonding system, great, good for you. Run it the way you want to run it. But do it great. Do it at an excellent level of dentistry. There's no reason why you should need to settle. So, okay, I'm going to cement. I'm going to throw it from this side of the room, throw it over there. It'll cement. It'll stay. We can't do that. So if you want to use some a zirconia, it's fine. Use it. Just be careful how you use it. Just be the best at it, because zirconia is very hard to adjust. It's very hard to recontour. Actually, it's almost unrecontourable because it is so hard. So again, I told you before, I'm not a big zirconia fan. I do admit that they're getting better translucency-wise, but I'm just not a big fan of the procedure on how to use it. And again, I'm a smile designer. I do smiles every day, and I wouldn't use zirconia. At this point in my career, I wouldn't use zirconia to do a smile. I would just keep it always in second molars and back to this day.
Eddie, I've always thought that the number one quality that leads to success, I mean, there's a lot of multifactorial qualities of why some people are so much more successful. A big one is natural curiosity, always wanting to learn. And I almost think you're just born with a natural curiosity, or you're just not curious, not right or wrong, just how you're born. But the hugest one is humility, humble. They listen to their patients. They listen to their staff. They listen to their lab man. So many labs have told me over the years that they're afraid to call up their doc and ask for anything because they're afraid he's going to get mad and just change labs, and they don't want to lose this monthly account. When you're working with dentists, what percent of them are humble enough to where you can just say, hey, I know, you need to do this. Look for my side. How many of them are approachable and humble and communicate? And how many of them have the Napoleon God complex where you're just like, you're not going to say anything because you don't want to lose the account?
Yeah, well, again, you mentioned my age. I think I did all my dirty work already, and I opened my first business when I was 22 years old, and at 22, I had to do that. I had to eat crap from everybody, and I was, we didn't have YouTube in those days, and a doctor would call me up and say, hey, can you do this implant case? I was like, yeah, of course, and then I would go to the books and find out how to make that darn thing work, and I didn't know how to do it, but I would learn how to do it, right? So I put my miles in there. And because of what I've done with my career is that now I can actually talk to doctors and give them my 2 cents on how to prep better, or how to change their work, or how to improve their work. They believe me because of the experience, because of the years that I have put into this career. And when I speak, I'm legit. I'm telling how to do the thing the right way, because I failed before, because I let you, the dentist, do it wrong. I took it to the lab. I did it. It failed. And then you blame me, and I have to redo it for free. And that was the way that I had to live. But not anymore. I've done that. So I don't do anything for free anymore, because I want that thing to work the first time. How? By doing it this way, by using it the right way, by doing it the right way. Now, I'm not going to say that anybody there can do what I do, because you got to earn your miles. You gotta try your best. If there's a young technician watching this and trying to do what I do, buddy, you're gonna have to earn your miles. You're gonna have to eat crap like I did, because otherwise people are not gonna work with you. You gotta learn. So again, continuing education was really good too for me. I did at 22 when I opened my lab. Is when I went to my first Frank Spear lectures on occlusion in Orlando, Florida. I paid for my own trip there. 22 years old. That's unheard of. But I went there 3 days. I learned about occlusion. I didn't understand crap he was saying, but I brought all the books with me so in the future I could do something about occlusion. Then I did all my LVI courses. I became an LVI master technician. That was like 25, 26. At the same time, I did all my PAC lives with David Holmbrook. Then I did my courses with John Coyce, a few courses with John Coyce. So that gives you knowledge, that gives you practice. And all of these that I just mentioned, I went to the point that I worked chairside, bringing my own doctor, bringing patients, and doing a same-day smile. Well, not a same-day smile, but a smile makeover with mentors watching us the whole weekend, doing my own photography. So I learned, and not only did I put up with crap, but I also paid a lot of money out of pocket on education, continuing education, to become the person I am today, that allows me to actually go to you if you're prepping and say, you know what, Howard, I think we need to change this angle. Or I think we need to sharpen this, or we need to round this, or we need to retake this impression. Now, the one important part of the question was humble. In my terms and conditions on my website, you're more than welcome to go visit it. Term number 9 says that I reserve the right.
Which website? Same Day Smiles? That's the one you're.
Yes,
okay.
Same Day Smiles. Number 9 says I reserve the right to decline service at any point of the procedure. And that is, I made that one for that guy that I may meet one of these days. It turns into not a nice guy while I'm working there, and I can pull this out and say, you know what, I cannot work with you. I'm out of here. So far, I've done about 1,500 cases around the world. I have not met that dentist yet. I met the patient, but not the doctor. I work with nothing but really cool doctors.
But that's because you're the master. You're top 1%. So you're picking these types of people that rose to the top. So people that rise to the top like that
right.
are similar minded. But back in the day when you were 22, Mr. Entrepreneur, what percent of the dentists were humble and which percent were arrogant?
I'll say 50-50.
50-50?
But, you're also talking about a different era. I come from an era where the lab was a lab and the dentist was a dentist. I think now in 2016, I think the lab technician is viewed with a little bit more respect, especially with this digital era, with this communication, YouTube, Skype, FaceTime, all the stuff that we used to communicate with you, the dentist. I think that now we're a different level. But in those days where I come from, we had dirty laboratories, and we didn't have money for new equipment. We had to use old equipment and do the best we could with what we had. In those days were not that we weren't respected. We just didn't make ourselves very respected, I guess. I was very, very lucky to have fallen in love with this career. So I've always wanted to become better at what I did. I've never stayed stagnant and suffer consequences and work in horrible environments. I've always wanted to succeed. I've always wanted something out of my life, and I chose dental technology to be the route. So yeah, maybe on the top 1%, but you gotta really want to be in the top 1%, and it's you said it. It's in me. It's in here. I brought it from my heart, put it in my mind, and I'm making it work right now. And I think there's a lot of technicians out there with that potential to do that,
Yeah, and it's in your heart. Like Muhammad Ali said, everybody gets knocked down. It's the champions that get back up.
Right.
The Japanese religions always say, life is a successful man gets knocked down 7 times, get up 8. But I could tell I'm older than you. You're 47, I'm 53, because these people you mentioned, like John Coyce, Frank Spear, might be just a little older. I remember seeing them when they were together as a partner. You talked about Pac Live and Bill Dickerson. I'm older. I saw them when they were together. The greatest
Right.
endo gurus, Steve Buchanan and Cliff Ruddle. I first saw them when they were together. So it's funny when I could always tell it's a younger person when they say when they talk about Kois and Sphere as different because my
That's
first
true.
yeah, when I was first learning all these guys, they were all on the same deal. So again, I just to be clear to people listening, what can you do for them? I mean, uh, paint the scenario of the dentist listening that has this big case, and what is the advantage of flying Eddie to their office versus the old way of upper and lower impressions? And talk about the perfect case.
Great. Thanks for asking. I never thought we'd get to this. This is how it works, and it's a service that I provide to CEREC doctors. The doctor has a case, calls me up, hires me for the day, goes to my website, like I told you, fees are there, lab slip is there. So what I do the day of the case, or the CADSMILE, or the restorations to be made, I show up with a small briefcase with all my powders, all my porcelains, all my stains, my handpiece, my light that I have right here, and everything that I need. No CEREC, that's provided by the doctor. I show up with that and my diagnostic wax up. The doctor's job when I'm in the office is to only prep the teeth and cement them. I do all the scanning and I'll do all the designing. I do all the milling, staining and glazing, or cutback and layering. So my goal for the dentist is to have a great day seeing more patients, or really just getting out of my hair, no hair, but getting out of my hair for 3 hours while I do the restoration. So I shoot for two things. I shoot for the doctor's great day and great experience working with me by saying, wow, man, I want to do this every day, which happens most of the time. And the patient, for me, like I told you before, we're doing all the live patient courses with Spear and Holmbrook and Dickerson. I can actually see the patients change in front of me. I interview the patient with my phone. I ask them what they want to get done. I take care of all the emotions, all the emotional part of a smile makeover day. I take care of all that. So I take all the stress from the doctor and I put it on me. And then from the patient's point, I just make them feel very, very comfortable because I introduce myself as a personal smile designer. There's not a woman in this world that's not going to like someone to come in and say, hello, my name is Eddie Corrales. I am your personal smile designer today. That is an incredible sentence right there because they feel very special. I am their smile designer, right? But that connection that I make with that patient is very, very important because they trust me, they believe in what I'm doing, and then from there I can evolve in this conversation about shape, design, expectations. I always use the word I want to exceed your expectations. I don't want to just meet them. So they feel like I am now the doctor. They're talking to me. The doctor's just going to be the architect. Now I'm going to put the whole thing together for you. And I'm the guy that you're going to tell if you don't like something, I'm going to fix it. But chances are you are going to like it because we're having this conversation in the beginning of the day. So those things are the things that I bring to the table when I work with CEREC doctors. That's why they like working with me because I make everybody in the office have a great time. I'm the one that always tells the doctor, what are you doing not having flowers for the end of the day? You got to have flowers for this patient, right? They never think about that. They're like, oh, wow, bye. They got to have flowers for this patient. They got to take a photo with the patient. I bring all these things to the table that makes it for a beautiful, profitable day, right? Because the patient leaves with a beautiful smile that they wanted. The patient tells other people about this dental office and getting flowers. The staff is super content because the patient and the doctor is super happy. We all smiled all day. The case was under control because remember, we control it better than anywhere else. If you were to send a case to a dental laboratory right now, you are going to send the case to a lab that you probably know, but sometimes let's just say you don't know the laboratory that well. You send the case, the lab is going to call you 3 days later and say, you know what, can you retake this impression or can I get this information? And if not, you may be thinking in the back of your head, God, I wonder if I sent everything to Eddie that he needs to do the smile. or the patient is going to say, oh my God, I don't like this, I don't like that, can you change it? Then you got to call Eddie and say, Eddie, the patient doesn't like this, can you change it? All that uncertainty is there, right? With me in your office is predictability. It's predictable because we are in control of the case, right? Because we control the preps, we control the impression, we control the design, we control the emotional part of it. So everybody's really happy at the end of the day. There's no reason why not to be happy because nothing went wrong, right? So when you get the case the other way, without me there, if it's a contact to be added, what do we do now? Temporize, send it back to the lab. Come back in 2 weeks. Change the color, temporize, send it back to the lab. This way, any minimal changes that you need to make, good to go. You're right there. So predictability is a big key here for the service that I provide, and it's been phenomenal. It's been phenomenal.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of amazing feedback from a lot of your happy customers. But these guys listening to you, they're still wondering, like, well, what kind of a case is it? Are these a smile design? I mean, are these usually 10 veneers? Is this 10? What is the of the full distribution? What is standard deviation 1? 68.5% of your cases, and then what are the standard deviation 2? What are the outlier? But what does your bread and butter standard case look like?
The bread and butter, just to make it short, first, let's say it's an 8-unit case.
It's a what?
An 8-unit case. 8 units, 8 veneers.
That's okay, veneers, not full crowns.
Veneers or crowns, whatever it is.
But what is it mostly? Is it mostly?
Crowns. We'll just do 8 mouth.
But what's the most popular case? Would it be 8 veneers or 8 crowns?
Well, that always varies. There's no one or the other. Sometimes you're removing all crowns in the posterior because the patient had just bad crowns done or they're old, and those are crowns, and then we do veneers in the front. Sometimes happen the other way around, ugly crowns, so we do onlays or crown ears, and we have to do full crowns here. So that really I call them restorations. They'll be veneers or crowns when we get in there. But we call them just restorations, whatever they need to be. They may be a fine line when you say prepless or minimal prep to full prep. That I can see. But if we're doing crown or veneer, it really matters. It really is up to the case and what the case requires in order to do it.
So your average bread and butter case is a smile design for 8 anterior teeth.
No. I was just giving you one way. So let's say I'm based in San Diego, California, and here in San Diego, California, we have about 600 CEREC owners, which is a lot of work. Here, I'll go for a 4-unit case to a dental office for the fee that I get paid. I'll do a 4-unit case, but I will not get on a plane to anywhere for a 4-unit case. If I have to catch a plane, it has to be either an 8 or a 10-unit case, something larger that will make me leave the family. But if I have to travel anywhere, I always say do 10 units or get 2 6-unit cases, 2 patients. It's very easy to do 2 4-unit cases or 2 6-unit cases, and we would stagger them. We put one at 10 o'clock, one at 8 in the morning, one at 10 in the morning. We cement one at noon, one at 2. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
is your fee for this, because you're talking to a lot of people, they're individuals, they're driving to work. They're just listening. Is it like a fee per unit?
The fee. All the fees are on the website, and it varies. The smaller the case, the more the cost of the restoration. The larger the case, the less, obviously. So for let's say a 6-unit case, I'm giving an example. 6-unit case would be $2,000 for me to do a 6-unit case. So if you do the math there, I don't know, I'm horrible with numbers, but you're talking about over $300 a unit. But if I'm doing a full mouth case, you're going now to $275 a unit. So it varies on the amount of work that we're doing on that day, right? Another good question, obviously, would be how much should a doctor charge for this? And most of my doctors are charging between $1,250 to $1,300, $1,500 per unit, and that covers my fee. Right, and like I said, if I travel, the doctor also takes care of the traveling expenses. Something that would, like Winter Holler that you mentioned earlier, and there's other doctors around the East Coast that do the same thing. They hire me for about 2-3 days, and they stagger stagger a whole bunch of cases, 5, 6 cases, and I stay there 3, 4 days. The other thing that they do, because I'm a member of the CEREC community, I lecture for a lot of the Patterson branches. What they do, one doctor calls another doctor that owns a CEREC and says, "Hey, buddy, I'm bringing Eddie into town because I have 2 cases. Do you think you may have a couple cases?" And that doctor may say, "Yeah, actually, I have a couple cases." So the first doctor is going to call me and say, "Hey, we need you here for 4 days. Dr. Such and Such is going to want you Thursday and Friday. I'm going to have you Tuesday and Wednesday." And then I go to, like, Chicago does that a lot with me. Detroit used to do it a lot with me. I do it a lot in Florida. I have 6 clients that I stagger around, and I just go there for 2 weeks and move around, and each doctor has a case. So it's very easy to hire me. It's very easy. All they need to do really is look at the schedule, look at the price list. If it fits you, you just give me a call, and we'll put it all together.
And what's your phone number?
619-850-7800.
619-850-7800. If you're at 7-Eleven right now using the restroom, just write it on the wall. For a good time, call Eddie. 619-850-7800. The website you have samedaysmiles.com. That's the one but the old one was CADSMILES.com. But what's your preferable email address?
My email address was ecorrales@cadsmiles.com. There's one thing I wanted to add to the reason of having me, and what is the service that I bring to the table. Along with all the stuff that I just told you, there's one really good thing here that is the timing of things. I have a protocol that I use on all my cases that I have perfected throughout the years, and that protocol is the use of energy throughout the day, the human energy. So I make sure that I watch everybody in the dental office to make sure that everybody's up to par, that everybody's having a great time, and everybody has great energy. And that's why I always say that my cases, 6, 8, 10 units, full mouths, they need to be prepped. They need to start early, 8, 9 in the morning. And I need to start designing early in the morning, around 10 in the morning, in order for me to have the doctor cement or start trying in restorations by 2 p.m., latest 3 p.m. And that's because of the energy that is in the room, meaning that Eddie comes into the office, everybody's super happy. Everybody, the staff, the doctor have 3 cups of coffee. Everybody's like, yeah, Eddie's in town. Let's have a great time. Woo! We get in there. We start working. Suddenly by 11, the energy starts going down a little bit because now the human body starts looking for lunch. So now we're going a little bit low. So I keep an eye on that, making sure that before 11 o'clock, I'm already designing and the doctor's almost done prepping. At noon, we have lunch, right? And we get a little bit of energy right there that will lead us about 2 o'clock, get that new energy. So I make sure that we all have the nice energy to start trying in restorations. We start cementing by 2:30 or 3. You know very well that by 5 p.m., your staff is looking at the clock going, where are we leaving? So now we're rushing. Now we're all burned out. Now we want to get out of there. So that's one thing I think is a big key that I bring to the office is that protocol, that things need to be done at a certain time because of the energy that we have in the operatory to make sure that the cementation, which is the hardest part of the whole procedure, because trust me, my CADSMILE is very easy. Designing is easy because I do it all the time. Ceramics is easy. Trying them in is easy. But when you go to cement a 10-unit case at 2:30 in the afternoon, that is the toughest part of the whole procedure. So I need to make sure that you, the doctor, are in really good shape, that you're happy, that you're well fed, and you have the right energy, and you have all the instruments in hand. Sometimes I even help cementation because some of the staff members are not trained properly, so they let the doctor alone to try in things and clean out things. So I get really involved in the cementation technique because I need to make sure, going back to the patient's experience and everybody's experience, that everything gets done at a certain time for you not to say, oh my God, that was a long day. I don't know if I want to do this again. I want you to have that one, oh my God, I do this every day. So that's one thing that is very important for doctors that are listening to know that I'm bringing to the table is that control in the day-to-day.
Well, I think everybody listening to this would love to see it. And I think the best marketing you could do would be to create an online CE course on Dentaltown that just goes through this entire process, start to finish.
I agree.
Dentaltown, we're up to 217,000 dentists in every country on earth. Over 50,000 have downloaded the app, but we put up the online CE course, and they've been viewed over 600,000 times. And I think everybody listening to this would just love to see a case, you know what I mean, where you go in, you meet the staff, you do the whole damn thing. If it was narrated by Mary Ann, the views would triple. Is she still in the room? Did you hear that?
No, she's walking in now.
She's walking in. But yeah, I think that would be, and then going through your pearls of showing, the whole thing, the smile design, the whole thing, how the whole thing works. I think it'd be amazingly informative, be remarkable, and it'd be great marketing for you. But we're out of time, but I gotta keep you for overtime because you opened up a whole can of worms. When you said earlier, digital smile design, Christian coachman. I know that's big in the AACD circles and all that, but there's a lot of young kids who are saying Christian coachman, digital smile design, and some of the other dentists might be thinking, who does the smile design? If it's my patient, it's 8 anteriors. Do I have to do all the digital smile design, or do you do that? So can you stay in overtime for a few minutes and answer that whole bag of worms?
I would love to. You know, I have adopted this DSD concept now for about a year, and it's incredible what it has done to my final product. Some doctors like to get involved. The DSD is made for a doctor to design the smile with Keynote, let's say to keep it very simple, with Keynote, with little lines and rulers, to tell the dental technician, this is how long I want the teeth made. This is where I want to do soft tissue recontouring. This is what I need to do. Now do the wax up, recreate it, and give me a nice mock-up. That is one way. Now the way that smart technicians like myself are using it, I'm actually providing the treatment plan. So the doctor has to send me either video or photos of the patient, and I'm the one that does the DSD. I'm the one that tells the doctor this is how long it should be, and this is where you need to do the gingivectomies, or this is where we need to consider an implant, or this is how things should be. So I'm the one that uses it. So there's different ways of using it. It's not really to wow the patient. It's really to communicate, create a bridge between the dentist and the laboratory. Now, who does it? It's up to the two professionals. Like with Bob here, because I do all the time. I actually, when we do a case here, which is a really key part of DSD, when I'm doing a case here, I see a potential patient for next week. So he brings the patient here, I do the video, I do the photos, and then I do all the DSD for him, and we show it to the patient later on. We show them to the patient. So I sell another case with the DSD while I'm doing already a case. But again, I'm a DSD member, and I have adopted it full on, so I'm on board 100%. So I truly believe in this, and I'm teaching it in Patterson branches nowadays on how to implement DSD to your daily practice. But the question always comes up from dentists, I don't have time to do it. Who does this? It really is, if you as a dentist should be doing it, but I know that, a lot of dentists are not very savvy with Keynote or with PowerPoint for that matter, so they rather have a team to do it, and I'm one of those. And I think this is catching on with a lot of technicians that wish to have beautiful work from dentists, and I think this is where we start. I'll take on the photos, and I'll tell you where I need to go with this case, and then if you trust me, then you follow my Keynote presentation, and you prep it correctly, and you do everything correctly.
Well, I hope this presentation... Yeah, it did, but I think putting this on an online C course would be amazing. It'd be amazing information for the dentist. It'd be amazing marketing for you. I think they'd love it. And any chance we could get that someday?
Anytime. You just give me a call after we hang up, and we'll set it up. I love that. I've done around the world. I've done about 6-7 videos already, just like what you're saying, for marketing purposes from dental offices, not my own, but something with you, I will be an honor to do that.
Yeah,
it's not really the marketing, it's the education.
Yeah, you might already have the content. All you need to do is get with. So I'm Howard at Dentaltown, but when we started the online C, we hired a Howard Goldstein, so he's Hogo at Dentaltown. But yeah, you might have all the content. It just needs to be reformulated because it has to be ADA approved, AGD approved, and a lot of dentists. I mean, when they watch a program, they want the 10 question. They want to get AGD credit because of their state renewal license. They're trying to get their fellowship in the AGD. That stuff's not available on podcasts. So just making it you might already have all the content. It just needs to be in a AGD ADA format so they get credit. But it's amazing how the world's changing. Well, hey, Eddie, I've been your biggest fan for over 2 decades. I mean,
No,
I just
no,
think you're
thank
an amazing man. I love you to death. I follow you on Facebook. You're an amazing man from A to Z, a lovely wife, family. You're just the whole package, and I'm just honored that you spent an hour with me today on the show. Thank you so much for your
you.
time, and I'll see you soon.